just sends it deep into the night. Cubs win a 2-run blast. We're at 1060 West Addison Street. It's Wrigley Field, the home of the Chicago Cubs. And we're set for Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Chance for the Cubs to sweep the Rockies in a 2-game series as they wrap up an 8-game homestand and head to the road for 5 starting tomorrow night. Hi again, everyone. Bob Brenly and Len Casper with you. Cold again, wind blowing in. The Cubs have a chance for a 500 homestand, and it's all because of a Ramos Ramirez late last night.
Yeah, you know, Len, in this game, you're evaluated ultimately by the numbers that you put up at the end of the season. You see what Ramos has done over his last 4 ball games, driving in 5 runs. He's got 5 base hits. Even more importantly, the 12 outs that he made have been really good outs. He's hitting the ball hard. He's driving it deep to the outfield. Good to see from Ramos.
Always good to get a win on getaway night. The Cubs will have to beat Yolis Chacin, who has not given up a run on the road.
Yeah, he's been a tough customer this year. 2 real good road starts, 1 subpar start at home. He's got great secondary pitches, including a tremendous straight changeup.
And for the unbeaten Carlos Silva, we're going to see a lot of strikes probably from him as always.
And that would be a good plan of attack against this Rockies ball club. They're not firing on all cylinders offensively, so don't give him any base on balls.
Silva facing the Rockies for the first time since 2003. And coming up, Marlon Byrd will lead the Cubs into action off to a fantastic start. The Rockies and Cubs are coming up next.
Dealer who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Member owned means our reason for being is your well-being. Experience wellness everywhere. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines. Visit southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on.
Let's quickly get into the Rockies Southwest starting lineup. If you were with us last night, it's the same 1 through 8, starting with Carlos Gonzalez, working on a career-best 11-game hitting streak. Only difference, the 9th spot, the pitcher Chacin, 0 for 7.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively, brought to you by Jimmy John's. Tyler Colvin over in left field tonight for Alfonso Soriano. Marlon Byrd in center. Kosuke Fukudome over in right field. Ramirez, Castro, Terrio, Lee across the infield. Giovanni Soto doing the catching tonight for right-hander Carlos Silva. Still perfect on the season at 4-0 after 7 starts. See the 9 walks in 42 innings. We mentioned it earlier. That's something he needs to continue tonight against this Rockies offense.
One of a half a dozen pitchers with at least 7 starts and no losses. It's a swing and a miss. We're underway. 1 strike on Gonzalez. Silva likes to work fast. 0-2. 31 years old, 6'4", 250. From Bolivar, Venezuela. Makes his offseason home in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. Ground ball knocked down by Ramirez, or at least slowed down, and that'll be a hit for Gonzalez in a 12-game hitting streak.
We talked about Carlos Gonzalez in the ballgame last night. He just does not want to walk. He is going to swing his way onto base, and he does so this time. Just off the glove of Aramis Ramirez as he dived to his left. Looked like Castro may have had a play in the hole, but with Gonzalez's speed, it was going to be tough to get him at first.
Seth Smith batting with one on and nobody out, and he takes the sinker too low. Todd Tichenor, the home plate umpire. Hudson, Cousins, and Wolf, the veterans on the bases. Darryl Cousins is the crew chief. Been a while for Silva since he last faced the Rockies. He was a member of the Phillies, and he faced them at Veterans Stadium back in 2003, and it was in relief. In fact, the guys in, or at least on the Rockies roster he's faced the most, Jason Giambi and Melvin Mora, spending most of their career in the American League. Smith 2 hits, an RBI, and a run last night. Gonzalez faking towards second. Lee's going to get one, and a pretty routine 3-6-3 double play. Really didn't matter what Gonzalez did in the end.
Almost looked like Derek Lee had too many options there. He could have tagged the bag and then got the runner in a rundown, but he realized they had plenty of time to turn that 3-6-3 double play up the middle of the field. Nicely done.
So just like that, 2 outs. And nobody on, and it's Brad Hawk. Leads all National League right fielders in RBIs dating back to 2006. Killing righties to the tune of a .395 batting average. A little extra hop on the fastball tonight.
Yeah, I was just going to say 92, that last one, with the same downward movement that he gets on that two-seam sinker. And a little extra gas tonight.
Carlos getting an extra day, which is nice for all of the starters. Coming after the off day on Thursday. And the 1-2 to Hop. Missed, blown outside on a change, 2-2. Soto wants him to come in. He does. And Hop able to stay alive. Check in on the weather. We've seen this movie before. Mid-50s, a north wind, and a cool forecast.
Rockies should feel right at home tonight.
Well, you see what Soto did? Fastball away, no, in, no, away, no, in, no, away, okay.
Sometimes you get caught in between as a catcher. You're giving your signs back there, and for example, you hang a fastball away, the pitcher shakes his head no, you put a fastball in, and he just stands there for a moment, so you're not sure if he wants another sign or not.
Terrio backhands, sets, throws, and gets his former college teammate Brad Hawk. Leadoff single, no damage done. The Rockies fail to score, and the Cubs are coming up. Fukudome will lead it off. Ryan Theriot back in the lineup for the first time in 3 days. Lee Ramirez, Bird, Colvin with his second consecutive start. Soto, Castro, and Silva will round it out.
Quick look at the Rockies defensively, brought to you by Jimmy John, Seth Smith, Carlos Gonzalez, Brad Hopp across the outfield tonight. Ian Stewart at third, Troy Tulowitzki at short, Clint Barmas over at second base. The veteran Todd Helton at first. Miguel Olivo behind the plate again tonight for the Rockies, and he'll be catching right-hander Jhoulys Chacin. See the low opponent's batting average, 176.
He's only 22 years old. He is not allowed to run on the road this season. And in his short major league career, he's only given up 3 home runs. One of them was to Kosuke Fukudome in August of last year in Denver. Outside, 3-0 on the Cubs leadoff man with Theriot on deck.
Chacin will feature a fastball that we've seen 2 of already in the low 90s. A really good straight changeup, his second best pitch. Mix in a slider and a curveball as the situation calls for it. But we're told he has a swing and a miss changeup.
Cubs' favorite night of the year, the floppy hat giveaway. The first 9,999 fans and one broadcaster through the gates got their floppy hat.
And tonight's floppy hat giveaway sponsored by Fisher Nuts. So if your name is Fisher, you not only got a Cubs hat, but you got one with your name on it.
Your last name could be Nuts. You'd be in good shape. You know anybody by that last name?
Yeah, see? There you go.
Looks good.
Happen to be named Fisher, you wear it that way.
It's also an occupation. You're a part-time Fisher. 1-1 to Ryan Theriot. Got off the bench and into the game last night, but I think his first start since he got hit by a pitch on Saturday. Pretty decent lead by Kosuke at first, and Chacin checks on him.
Ryan just can't seem to get comfortable with that elbow guard. I meant to ask him about that before the game. Guys who don't normally wear that elbow protection, when they're forced to because of an injury, it feels like you've got a piece of luggage hanging off your arm.
Fukudome takes off. Here's the throw by Olivo. It drifted a little bit as Kosuke ended up running into Tulowitzki. And he looks like he's hurt.
That was a pretty nasty collision out there as Tulowitzki went after that tailing throw. It took him right in line with Fukudome, who looked like he was about to begin his slide, and they made some serious contact out there in the middle of the field.
Boy, Bob, it looked like Olivo knew that he had time to get Fukudome, but as you said, threw a two-seamer down to second.
And with the wind blowing in from center field, that's just going to accentuate any awkward spin you have on the baseball. If you don't have a good across the seams grip and really get on top of your throw, it's going to tail badly down there at second base.
Theriot into center, and a diving attempt trapped out there by Gonzalez, who kept it in front of him. Fukudome to third. They're at the corners with nobody out. Boy, that was an all or nothing play for Carlos Gonzalez. If it gets by him, it's at least 2, probably 3.
Good piece of hitting by Theriot to wait back and drive that off-speed pitch into center field. Now, that was a nice play just to trap it and keep it from rolling all the way out to the vines. Good start here for the Cubs.
Rough night for Derek. He hit the ball hard a few times. Struck out twice, hit into 2 double plays, and lined out to the shortstop. As he bounced it foul, and it almost hit the on-deck man, Aramis Ramirez.
How do you pull a ball that far foul?
I don't know.
Wow.
The question is, did he pull it in front of himself or behind himself? I thought it went between the catcher and the batter and back toward Ramirez, which is almost impossible to do. The pitch. Breaking ball strike, 0-2. Held up on a slider. Five finals from earlier today, including the Reds coming back in the 9th against Trevor Hoffman and beating the Brewers 5-4. Swing and the miss. He struck him out.
It looked like the changeup from Chacin. Really dives down and in. A lot of late movement. Derek Lee swings right over the top. You can see the chalk fly out of the catcher's mitt of Miguel Olivo. Sometimes when you move around back there behind the plate and use the mitt to kind of prop yourself up and you lean over in those chalk lines, the next pitch will throw up a cloud of dust.
That's a hard changeup. Here's a guy who ended the game last night, Ramirez, swinging and missing. That is a nasty pitch. Low and in.
Good to see. Oh, did he ever. I mean, there was a slight wind blowing in at the time. Not too bad, but he had a no-doubter about 3/4 of the way up the bleachers out there in left field. Good to see the team celebrating at home plate. We haven't seen enough of that this year.
He and Asdrubal Cabrera are the only players this season to have 2 game-winning RBIs in extras. It was his 99th career homer at Wrigley Field, 2-1. So he has won each of the last 4 years the walk-off home run. Did it with the Pirates 9 years ago off Rodney Myers. Three and one with Bird on deck. Speaking of Asdrubal Cabrera, bad luck for him, suffering a fractured left forearm in the Indians game at Tampa Bay last night, so he's on the DL. Check Ontario. Ontario takes off as it's bounced foul, 3-2. He's going to go 3-1. He'll probably go on 3-2.
Some hitters don't like that runner running on a 3-1 count. They prefer to make sure it's exactly the pitch they're looking for, 3-1. Other guys welcome the opportunity to have a runner in motion on the bases and possibly break up that infield defense, give you more holes to shoot for.
Well, is it just me, or did the sky just lighten up? Feels even maybe a touch warmer than it did about 10 minutes ago. Sun's going to come out apparently right at the end of the day. Barely saw it. A pop-up, Tulowitzki out, Smith is in, and they collide. Tulowitzki makes a catch and fires it in. It's cut off by Ian Stewart as Fukudome has to hold. And Tulowitzki, Bob, has had 2 collisions in this inning. He took the worst of that one.
That appeared to be Seth Smith's ball coming in from left field.
I got it. You
can see he was clearly calling for it, but we talk about that pop-up priority drill that you work on in spring training, and when an infielder hears an outfielder call him off, he's supposed to give way, but that time Tulowitzki stayed with it, made the catch, and not only that, got rid of it quickly to home plate. Fukudome had tagged up and was coming down the line at third, hoping perhaps that Tulowitzki would tumble to the ground out there, maybe drop the ball. But he got it back to home plate quickly and held the runners.
Looks like he got stepped on. The clouds rather breaking up as we near dusk. Right there. Yeah, he stepped on his right foot.
Sometimes when both players are calling for the ball, you get into a rhythm where you're both calling, I got it, at the same time. So you hear your own voice more than you hear your teammate's voice, and that time Tulowitzki obviously didn't hear Seth Smith.
And the Cubs need a 2-out hit. They had him at the corners with no outs. Lee and Ramirez coming up. Derek struck out. Ramos popped out, so it's up to Marlon Byrd. Old home week for Marlon. We'll go to Philadelphia and Texas on this upcoming trip. 2 of his former stops. Came on in the 7th last night. Made a key diving catch in the 8th. Went 0 for 2 at the plate. Cubs came in at 17-22, winners of their last 2. The Rockies have hovered right around break even all season, 19-19. They haven't been more than 2 over and no more than 2 below 500. I guess in some ways they've been consistently inconsistent. Bounced in front of the plate, 3-0.
It's kind of funny listening to Jim Tracy, the Rockies manager, talk before the ball game today about how he and his staff feel like they need to play a perfect game. They can't afford to make any mistakes on defense. They've got to cash in every opportunity they get because they haven't been getting many opportunities. They need well-pitched games. They need the bullpen to step it up a little bit. Sounded very familiar.
And you did. That's low, and the bases are loaded for Tyler Colvin. 2 walks in the inning. And you'd like to make Chacin pay for that. And his longtime Major League pitching coach Bob Apodaca will head out to the mound. We're going to hear in a little bit from Lou Piniella the big Cubs news today. And Lou mentioned it last night after the game as Carlos Zambrano will be stretched out. For the interim, he'll be the long man. He is available out of the Cubs pen tonight. But he will end up back in the Cubs rotation. No specific date has been set. The Cubs have not said which starter currently in the rotation would come out. But as we know, over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of things can happen. Some things can change. And you figure it out when you get to that point.
The outfielders are going to need sunglasses here pretty soon. It's the most light we've seen in 24 hours.
Yeah. Bases loaded for Tyler Colvin. Here we go. Inside corner, strike one. Wind still blowing in, but not nearly as overcast as it was 20 minutes ago. Swing and a miss on the change. 0-2 on Colvin, who started in center last night, and he's in left tonight. He actually finished last night's game in left. Can play all three spots.
With Colvin, Bird, and Fukudome across the outfield, one of the better defensive outfields the Cubs have assembled in a long time.
Swing and a miss. Chacin finds a way out of it. They leave him loaded. We'll hear from Lou on Big Z when we come back.
I said this wasn't going to be permanent when we did it. Look, I appreciate the fact that he went out there and gave us his best shot. But now we'll stretch him out, build up his stamina, and get him back in the rotation. I don't know how long it'll be. Let's see how long he needs to. We'd like to get him 2 or 3 appearances out of the bullpen stretched out.
Troy Tulowitzki leading off the Rockies' second with a single, so they put the leadoff man on in each of the first 2 innings. Cubs general manager Jim Hendry was adamant in stating that there's no injury, no pain, nothing for Z that would explain the lack of extra velocity. Helton swings at the first pitch. Bird back on it, right in front of the track, makes a catch. So 1 out, 2 pitches, a single and a fly out.
Well, Carlos Silva's reputation precedes him. These Rockies know he's a strike thrower. He's going to try to get ahead in the count, and then they're going to have to deal with that changeup and that sinking fastball off the plate away. So the first 2 hitters here, Tulowitzki and Helton, attacking the first pitch they see in the strike zone.
Now Miguel Olivo. He has a 5-game RBI streak. Swing and a miss. That was a home run swing right there. I think the other thing for Z, just changing his mindset. Broken bat grounder as Ramirez gets one, and that's it. The throw from Ramirez took Terrio to the shortstop side of second base. That made a relay throw to first almost impossible. Not quite sure they would have gotten two. But anyway, 2 outs.
The bat ends up going straight toward the backstop. Yeah, that looked like a tailor-made double play ball. As you said, unfortunately, the throw pulls Terrio off the back side of the bag where he's able to stay on long enough for the force out. No chance to complete the relay on the first.
Just to finish the thought on Z, you know, when you're pitching every 5 days, as he had done for so long, you get into a long toss routine. You kind of know each day what you're going to do. Well, when you're in short relief, you got to be ready to pitch every single day. And so getting him back into his comfort zone hopefully will be a good thing for him and the team. Change up, swing and a miss by Ian Stewart, whose piano work on the recently re-released Exile on Main Street was fantastic.
That was this Ian Stewart?
Oh, well, no, I guess not. The late Ian Stewart, one of the great rock piano players of all time. Are you going to pick up the new Exile? I think it came out today.
Got the old Exile, but
got some new songs.
Yeah.
Well, new old songs.
Yeah.
Some
previously unreleased gems from the Stones.
We should have asked Ian if he did any overdubs today. A base hit into left. 2 on with 2 down.
Looking for a great venue for your next party? The Captain Morgan Club at Wrigley Field has over 8,000 square feet of indoor and outdoor space and unmatched access to Wrigley Field. It's Wrigleyville's premier private party location. To book your party, call 773-404-4750.
I have a feeling if Keith Richards stopped by the ballpark, he might head over to the Captain Morgan Club.
You think? They fit right in out there in the bleachers. I don't know if anybody could understand what he was saying. It'd be a thrill to have him out there anyway.
Barmes goes to Castro, and the throw just in time. Well, he barely got Barmes. 2 hits, no runs. We are scoreless after an inning and a half.
Hustling down that line as Derek Lee stretches out for the throw, and ever so close, but just out at first base.
Soto, Castro, Silva against Yolis Chacin, who had to work very hard to keep the Cubs off the board in the first. The first 2 guys got on. And eventually they loaded the bases, but he got out of it. Curveball is high. 1-0 on Soto. The 1-1 on the way. Dribbled foul behind the plate, 1-2. We are honored tonight to welcome retired Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor to the friendly confines, and she will be a guest with us in the next half inning. Swing and a miss, strike 3. She delivered the game ball to the umpires before the first pitch tonight. First woman to serve on the Supreme Court. We'll have to ask her what she told the umpires.
Well, there's at least one good judge out there at home plate.
Can they appeal to her tonight?
I think so. I think that would be appropriate since she's in the house.
The 1-0 to Starlin Castro. Hit foul. 1-1. Starlin's been an everyday guy since he came up from the minor leagues. Tulowitzki guns it across. Tickets are selling quickly, but there's still time to get great seats for May games. Bleacher seats are still available as well. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. Next homestand should be fun. The Dodgers and Cardinals are in.
Sounds like Andre Ethier is going to try to play with that broken pinky finger.
I got an update. They just put him on the DL.
Oh, did they? Okay.
They just did. And his bobblehead night has been moved. I guess it was, I think it was tonight.
Now, the first report I read said they were going to try to fin it with some kind of a splint so he could play, but apparently they've changed their mind. Decided to take a more cautious approach.
They suffered the injury on Saturday during BP. Silva bounces to second. It's Barmas. And that's a quick 1-2-3 for Yolis Chacin. No score after 2. Rockies and Cubs from Wrigley. Sportsnet for Smirnoff Vodka Blackhawks post-game live. Highlights and analysis from your hometown favorites, plus locker room interviews and Coach Q's post-game remarks. Smirnoff Vodka Blackhawks post-game live tonight at 11:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. And it is an honor to have with us in the booth, as we mentioned, retired Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Justice O'Connor, thanks so much for being here at Wrigley Field.
I'm so glad to be at Wrigley Field. It's my first visit to this marvelous place.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, it's fabulous. I love it. You have an incredible view. You're close to the lake. It's just a beautiful, beautiful sight.
And it was overcast right at first pitch, but all of a sudden it's brightened up.
And you have a big crowd and an enthusiastic fan base. It's really fun to see. I'm thrilled to see it.
We had a shot of you delivering the game ball to the umpires.
Exactly.
Can you fill us in on what you told them?
Well, I told them to try to be absolutely fair.
They don't always take your advice, though. That's the problem.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Maybe coming from you. They certainly never listened to me before. I know that.
That was fun.
One out in the inning, Carlos Gonzalez at the plate. As he's going to ground out to Terrio. You are here to talk about Our Courts. And you can go to ourcourts.org, a web-based education project designed to teach students civics and inspire them to be active participants in democracy. Tell us about your involvement.
Well, many states have stopped making the teaching of civics and government a requirement for high school graduation. I'm very sad because we started public schools in America with the idea that they were there to teach people about how our government works so that youngsters could learn how they could be good citizens when they grow up. I never thought I would see the day when we stopped teaching civics and government. Now, it could be a little boring how they were teaching it, but nonetheless, it's an important function of the schools. And we've had testing lately by the Annenberg. Ooh, big hit there. The Annenberg.
Actually, the inning ended. Can you wait for a couple of minutes and we'll continue?
Yes, we'll continue when it's done.
Nothing on the field, and we were interrupted, but in a good way, because Carlos Silva worked a 1-2-3 third inning. Justice O'Connor, please continue. You were talking about Our Courts.
I was starting to tell you what the Annenberg polls show about what young people know today about civics, and it's pretty sad. The worst statistic of all is that barely 1/3 of people today can even name the 3 branches of government, much less say what they do. That's pretty sad.
Tulowitzki makes a play. 1 out. I would agree with that.
And, you know, young people can name some of the judges on American Idol, but nobody on the Supreme Court. And
that is very true. And, especially now with everything that's going on in the country. It's more important than ever to understand
it
how it
absolutely is. We have to do a better job of teaching young people. Now, I decided we should work on middle schoolers. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Nice dig by Helton, 2 outs.
Those are the years when young people first develop an intellectual capacity. And middle schoolers are so much fun. They're eager to learn. They're just great. That's the perfect age to teach them. And so these days, youngsters that age spend about 40 hours a week in front of a screen, whether it's television or a computer. Mm-hmm. And if we can get a little of that time, it doesn't take that much, a little, and get them on my website to learn about how government works, we will have done the job. And I think we can do it because the website has games for them to play that are really fun. And when these young people start playing them, they say, oh, that's cool, that's fun. So I think that's the way to get them educated. And that's my plan. And I hope to educate an entire generation of young people in this country.
It's a wonderful program. Again, ourcourts.org. Mm-hmm. And right there is the web page, so make sure you check it out.
I hope they will. It's really fun, and the games are great, and they'll learn something.
Swing and a miss, 1 and 2 on Derek Lee. Congratulations on receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Thank you.
Last August, correct?
Yes, I didn't expect that. And I had at that occasion an opportunity to speak with the president for, 3 minutes or so. And I told him that I was very glad he had appointed another woman to the court. That was Justice Sotomayor. But I said, Mr. President, 2 is not enough, in my opinion. And he looked at me and he said, Justice O'Connor, I agree with you. And he just proved that
Still scoreless as we get into the fourth inning. Thanks so much to Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to serve on the Supreme Court. And she served for 25 years. And again, go to ourcourts.org to learn more. It's a great message. 1-1 to Brad Hopp.
We had a guest in the booth, was it last year, that tried to put a similar message out there, not nearly as articulately as Justice O'Connor.
I think I remember who you were talking about. Leadoff single by Hopp. This fourth inning is brought to you by Fourth Meal from Taco Bell. Open 1 a.m. or later. Third time the Rockies have put that leadoff guy on. They have 4 hits, and 3 have been leadoff hits. Inside to Tulowitzki. He singled to start the second. Cubs had a great chance in the opening inning against Chacin, but he seems to be getting stronger. That popped out of Soto's mitt, but it was called a strike. Soto setting up shop near that inside corner, and that's exactly where Silva put it. Now we should ask Gio, and I'm sure you caught a couple of guys like Silva who are always around the plate. Look at that. He reached right behind him. What's that?
That's a sign to Ramos Ramirez at third base that there's either going to be a pitch on the inside part of the plate, or it's going to be an off-speed pitch that's more likely to be hit to third base.
Well, look out the barrel. The bat went flying over the dugout. They get the double play. Yeah, I think 2 outs as Hopp is adamant that Terrio didn't tag him. But the call made by Darryl Cousins was that he did. So that's a 4-3 double play. Jim Tracy is out.
Now, many times on a play like this, it's not necessarily that a tag was made. It's that the base runner left the baseline to avoid the tag. We'll take another look at it here. Hopp doesn't appear to be out of the baseline at that point. I mean, you've got 3 feet on either side of a direct line between the bases to maneuver within, and it looked like Terrio missed the tag. It didn't appear that Hopp went out of the baseline, but the Cubs will benefit from that double play call.
Second double play turned. So the base is cleared. Here's Todd Helton. You know, what I was going to say is, for a guy like Soto catching Silva, where he puts the glove, he is pretty sure that Silva's going to hit it, or at least be in that area. I mean, look at that one.
Yep. Well, it's such a joy to catch a pitcher like that. I've talked at length in the past about Rick Russell, a very similar style of pitcher, just pounded sinkers down in the strike zone, and if he didn't hit your glove, he was always going to miss in his favor by a couple of inches. He very rarely left mistakes over the heart of the plate. And that's the closest thing to an off day for a catcher, when you have a pitcher like that that hits his spots all day long.
It's like Silva wants the changeup. Here it is. And Helton pounds that into the right field corner as he makes the turn and heads to second. He's in there with a double. Todd Helton has just tied Edgar Martinez for 41st on the all-time doubles list, number 514.
That's where Todd Helton's approach at the plate, which is usually to drive the ball to the opposite field, serves him well on off-speed pitches. If he's thinking opposite field on a changeup, the result is you pull it usually down the right field line for extra bases.
Swing and a miss by Olivo. Double the first extra base hit for either team. See Garrett Anderson next on that career list, the active career list. Okay, now he found the sign he wants. And a foul pop out of play. Boy, Soto again went through every sign in the book.
And with a veteran like Todd Helton at second base, they want to go out and possibly change the signs, or at least change an indicator here. When you go through signs this fast, usually it's either first sign or last sign. I mean, those numbers and fingers flash by so quickly, it would be tough for it to be anything in the middle.
He was much more deliberate that time. He probably already worked out what they wanted. Is Helton's going to go to third as that one went right through Soto's legs. It's a wild pitch on Silva.
There's a slider off the plate away, no question about it, but Gio just didn't get the glove to the spot quickly enough.
Third wild pitch of the year. Charged to Silva. Again, he went through every sign before Silva picked the changeup, and he got it. Called strike three as he freezes Olivo to end the inning. Helton stranded at third. Still 0-0. I'll give you one hint. There are two current Cubs in the top 10. And one of them might just be at the plate right now. Might not, but he might. One strike to Aramis Ramirez. Boy, very interesting story brewing in South Florida, where the Marlins won today 8-0 over Arizona. That was not the story. It stemmed from last night when Hanley Ramirez, who had actually injured his ankle or foot early in the game, a little later in the game went after a blooper that he didn't catch, and as he was running after it toward the outfield, he kicked it into the left field corner and did not appear to give it a complete effort. And as the Diamondbacks scored a couple of runs, his manager confronted him, Freddie Gonzalez, as Ramirez takes ball 4, a leadoff walk, and pulled him from the game. And Freddie was pretty adamant about why he pulled him, talking about the effort. Well, Ramirez fired back today, quote, "It's his team, he can do whatever. That's okay, he doesn't understand that, he never played in the big leagues." Wow. And Gonzalez responded, "He's right, but I know how to play the game." Ramirez also basically threw the rest of the team under the bus, saying we got a lot of people who dog it after ground balls. They don't apologize.
That is a can of worms.
Ooh.
Man.
He also claimed that it was the hardest he could go after that ball last night. Brian Barden came in and replaced Ramirez. Barden, by the way, today started at short and knocked in 2. Well, you've been a player and a manager. Your thoughts from afar on, I guess, mainly Freddie's reaction and what he did in the aftermath.
The injury makes it somewhat of a wild card. It's hard to really gauge a player's effort if he's playing injured. Now, I would assume that when the initial injury happened, he fouled the ball off his foot. The trainer, the manager came out to talk to him. He declared himself fit and able to play. And if you're fit and able to play, then you have to play the game all out all the time. A lack of effort, it will stick in any manager's craw. I don't care if you're the best player on the team or the last guy on the roster. You've got to go out there and give a good effort every night. You owe it to your teammates, you owe it to the organization, and you certainly owe it to the fans.
Ramirez was running as Bird smacked it into right. Naramas will end up at third. So for the second time tonight, they have runners at first and third with no outs.
Just to put a bow on that thing, I applaud Freddie Gonzalez for his actions. I think a lot of managers are going to follow suit. For whatever reason, a lack of effort has become almost accepted in this game, and I think a lot of managers have decided that it's time to draw a line in the sand, and if you're not going to play hard, I'll put somebody in there who will, whether you're the best player on the team or not. And then the lack of respect that Hanley Ramirez showed for his manager after the fact is just inexcusable.
Well, here's the key. The money part of it aside, because fines don't seem to really affect a lot of guys these days, especially the high-paid players. The one thing they all want to do is play. And as a manager, the only thing you can take away is playing time. So if Ramirez decides he doesn't want to apologize and wants to stew about it, he's going to have a lot of time to think about it. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. My guess, Bob, when Ramirez wasn't in the lineup today, Freddie was praying, let's win. That had to help. You win 8-0 without him.
And the guy who replaced him drove in 2 runs.
Yeah.
I mean, now, that being said, Hanley Ramirez is not the kind of guy you can easily replace. He's one of the best players in the National League when he plays the game hard. I mean, we heard that from the coaching staff of the Marlins when they were in town here, that there's no question the ability that Hanley Ramirez has. He just doesn't show up on a daily basis to exhibit those skills.
Two and one on Colvin, who struck out to end the first with the bases loaded. the first. Bird back at plenty of time.
Shot, base hit. Cubs lead 1-0. Ramirez is in. Tyler with his 10th RBI. And for the first time this year, Chacin has allowed a run on the road.
Ringing base hit back up the middle of the field. Fastball out over the plate and down right where Tyler Colvin likes it. Lightning quick swing that time, driving home the first run of the game for the Cubs.
Chacin had gone 17 1/3 scoreless innings on the road before allowing that RBI single.
Giovanni Soto standing up there, shortening up on the bat, trying to send a message to the Rockies that he's going to put down a sac bunt. We're not sure if Gio's going to bunt or not in this situation. We know Lou doesn't like to give up outs, especially early in the ball game, but if they were paying any attention to the hitter at the plate, he was trying to make them think he was going to bunt. And no sign of a bunt on the first pitch.
I would agree with you that it would be highly unlikely. They could walk Castro and then face Silva. With the bases loaded, they get him. And there are 2 outs with Fukudome coming up. 1-0 on Soto. Make it 2-0. That was bounced to Helton.
We talked at length last night about Olivo's throwing arm behind the plate. That was an ill-advised pickoff attempt right there. Number one, Colvin wasn't that far off the bag at first, and I'm not sure if Olivo made contact with the home plate umpire, but for whatever reason, he bounced his throw down there to first base. Very easily could have gone down the right field line.
The 2-0 pitch, missed again, 3-0. Bob, for all you young first basemen out there, this is a subtle play, but watch Todd Helton. This is a pickoff play. Notice how he fielded it. He fielded it like a shortstop. He was not thinking about tagging the runner. He was just trying to keep the ball out of right field. That's why he's won 3 Gold Gloves.
Yep. You have to know when to quit on a play. If that throw had been right on the bag and Tyler Colvin maybe had a couple more steps on his leadoff and Todd Helton thought they had a chance to pick him off, then he would have tried to pick that ball quickly out of the dirt and put a tag down. But he realized that Colvin was going to be safe at first. His main concern was making sure that ball didn't get by him.
Chacin's 3-1 with the runners going is popped foul to the seats. Hey, congrats to our Menards winner, Alan Wegner from Buffalo Grove. Won a contest to be a groundskeeper for the day. Banging on those boards as they put down the chalk for the batters' boxes.
That's one thing we take for granted going around to the major league parks and watching ball games. Those batters' boxes and the catchers and umpires' box are always exactly where they're supposed to be. Go around to some of the high school and little league fields and maybe pointed out toward left center field.
That was ball 4. They are loaded up. You see Mike Quaddy was headed to the bag. He was telling Bird, stay on the bag, as he knew it was ball 4. And we saw Ronnie Cedeno a couple of years ago get thrown out on a play like this when he came off second base.
Pretty nice trick slide there by Marlon Byrd. Came up short of the bag when Stewart went to tag him. He got that right foot around the tag and on the base. He was safe anyway because of the walk at home plate, but something I'm sure we'll see again before this year's over for Marlon Byrd.
Bob Apodaca with his second trip to the mound tonight. First time was back in the opening inning, and Chacin was able to get out of it. They're full with nobody out here in the fourth. 2 walks, 2 hits, and the Cubs lead 1-0. See if he can pick up his first RBI since his major league debut. Ground ball to third, dropped by Stewart. They get 1, that's it, and Castro will get an RBI. It's 2-0.
The ground ball to third looked like a sure double play. It actually leads Stewart a couple steps towards second base, but he just couldn't field it cleanly. They're only able to get the force on Giovanni Soto at second base, and an opportunity here for Carlos Silva to do some damage with the bat. Although I would assume he's going to put down a sac bunt and try to move Castro into scoring position for the top of the order, but you never know.
And it's a suicide squeeze as he bunted it foul. As Colvin took off from third. How about that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we've seen a little bit of everything already in this ball game. Luce starting the runners on 3-1 and 3-2 counts. Attempted squeeze bunt right there in an obvious sacrifice situation. We saw a hit and run with Marlon Byrd and Aramis Ramirez. Like it.
They pitch out as the runners were not moving.
What's happening right now, Len? Brains are spilling all over the field. Boy, this is where, as a manager, and I can certainly sympathize with Jim Tracy right now. You wish you had 8 sets of eyes. You want to watch the third base coach. You want to watch the runner at third. You want to watch the runner at first. You want to watch the hitter. You want to keep a close eye on the manager in the other dugout just to see if anybody tips anything that might be going on in this situation.
So Tom Runnels, the bench coach, was right in Jim Tracy's ear. Mike Quaddy talked to Carlos Silva again. Now he gets in Colvin's ear at third. A 1-1. It gets away, and did it hit his bat? I guess it did. Caught a piece of Olivo as well. 1-2.
It was almost a self-defense effort to bunt that ball. At the location of this pitch, that's way inside off the plate and just does catch the very end of Silva's bat before hitting Miguel Olivo and rolling over into the on-deck circle. I kind of like a squeeze in this situation, too, because if it's bunted foul, it goes as a strikeout. The runners return to their bases.
Swinging away and just tosses the bat away in disgust. Well, an eventful at bat results in a strikeout.
An awful lot happened for nothing to happen right there in that at bat by Carlos Silva.
One look by Chacin. Finally gets the sign he wants. And the pitch to Fukudome, he shows bunt and takes ball one. A walk, a stolen base, his first time up. Stranded at third. He grounded out in the third. Rockies have gotten deep starts here lately. And Chacin in danger of a short one tonight. That's why Randy Flores is up. And Chacin struggling. The starters have gone 7 or more innings in 4 straight games going into tonight. Outside corner, 2-1.
It shows you the confidence Chacin has in that straight changeup. He throws a 2-0 change to Fukudome right on the outside corner at the knees.
Ground ball base hit. Colvin's in. Castro around to third. An RBI single for Kosuke. 3 runs in here in the 4th inning.
Tries to come back with a fastball, got it up over the plate where Fukudome could put a good swing on it. You see Barmes shading a little bit toward that hole on the right side of the infield. Chacin throwing a lot of changeups. Helton was holding on Castro at first base. Barmes was trying to close the hole between first and second. Left a gaping hole up the middle of the field, and Fukudome took advantage.
Just kind of chipping away at Chacin. No extra base hits. They've used a couple of walks and 3 singles in the inning. This has been a very difficult place to play for the Rockies over the years. They've lost 10 of their last 11 here at Wrigley Field. Terrio waves at strike 2. 1-2. Cubs missing the ace of the Rockies, Ubaldo Jimenez. They'll miss Roy Halladay in Philadelphia. He's pitching tonight and trailing late, 2-1 to the Pirates. Halladay has gone the distance, 8 innings, 2 runs, but Zach Duke went 6, gave up just 1. So it's 2-1 Pirates in the bottom of the 8th. A 2-2 to Terrio, very late swing. Fortunately for the Rockies, they have a fence right in front of the dugout, or somebody would have gotten smoked.
Roy Halladay already had 62 in the 3rd innings pitched going into play tonight. About a workhorse.
Only in mid-May. Sounds like he's on the 250 inning plan. High fly to center. Gonzalez backpedaling as he pulls it in for the third and final out, but the Cubs get 3 in support of Carlos Silva.
$53695. If you're the 500th texter, you could win 5 $5 footlong subs from Subway.
3-0 Cubs. Ian Stewart will start it for the Rockies. They've been getting guys on, but haven't gotten anybody in. How about Carlos Silva? 5 wins in 2 years with the Seattle Mariners total. He has a chance to go to 5-0 this season in his 8th start in a Cubs uniform. All of his wins have followed losses. If he wins tonight, it will have followed a win, but I guess he's been the Cubs stopper. Three balls and a strike on Stewart. Silva hasn't walked anybody to this point, but a rare 3-ball count for him. He has 1 strikeout. That was Olivo looking to end the 4th. Strike 2. Strike 3 on a fastball. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Any thoughts, Bob? Cubs all-time leader in slugging percentage.
I actually got this on the first guess today, so I'll eliminate myself.
Hack Wilson.
Yeah.
Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez on the list. Sammy slugged .569. Ernie Banks at .500. Billy Williams .503. They're also in the top 10. Ground ball to third as Ramirez will throw across. I'll tell you, anytime you can be in the top 10 on a leaderboard in Cubs history, which goes back to 1876, that's impressive.
Yes, indeed.
Buddy Ron Santo is fourth on the all-time homer list. 337 as a Cub, trailing Sosa, Banks, and Williams. Don't worry, Ronnie, we didn't find anybody else with a bad toupee like we did last night. Nice pick by Ramirez. He throws out Chassid. He thinks we're talking about his hair. We're talking about his home run power. 3-0 Cubs midway in the fifth. In relief tonight, the Cubs are in the process of stretching him out for an eventual return to the starting rotation. And, hey, who knows? Maybe Silva 6 and Zambrano 3 tonight.
Well, we could get all three Carloses in there again. That's a formula that's worked pretty well for the Cubs this year. But right now, Carlos Silva is the guy we're most concerned with. He's pitching to Gem tonight.
Probably won't see Sean Marshall, who was extended yesterday. And Carlos Marmol was asked to get 5 outs last night, something Lou does not want to do very often. So it is altogether possible that, you know, Zambrano could get like a 3-inning save. We'll see. That's line deep to left center, and a running catch by Smith to retire Derek Lee, whose bad luck continues.
Nice running catch by Seth Smith. We saw him make a couple of nice plays toward the foul line in the ball game last night. It's very short, choppy steps in the outfield. Most outfielders have that long, loping stride where they cover a lot of ground with each step. And Seth Smith is not out of that mold, and he gets there just as quickly.
His manager, Jim Tracy, talked a lot about the Rockies' outfield situation currently. Here's the 0-1 to Ramirez. They're kind of like the Cubs. They have 5 guys. Tracy tries to get in as much as possible. And Smith, one of the premier pinch hitters in all of baseball. And Jim Tracy said, with all that's going on right now, we're just trying to get as many wins as we can. Dexter Fowler has not played a lot lately. He said it's twofold. Smith gives us the best chance right now. And he also said, down the road, those pinch hitting opportunities, he'll be helped by all this regular playing time. And I know you're a big believer in that.
Oh, absolutely. I think you really have to include everybody on the roster as often as you can. I mean, it's a great luxury to have an everyday 8-man lineup that you just fill in every day, change a pitcher spot, and go get them. But the reality is, over the course of the long season, you're going to need contributions from everybody. And if you expect your bench players to be productive, they need to get some at-bats on a regular basis as well. Not to mention the rest for your regular guys who are going to need it come August and September.
The 2-0 on the way is a strike, 2-1. Hit foul by Bird.
Time for our Home Depot doing more on defense. Marlon Byrd in the ball game last night. One of the toughest plays an outfielder has is that line drive hit right at you. That one was getting knocked down by the wind, and Byrd made a tremendous diving catch coming straight in.
Well, he tried to stick with that slider as long as he could, and fortunately for him, it stayed inside. 3-2. Payoff pitch, pounded on the ground. Tulowitzki with that cannon gets him by a step from deep in the hole at short. 5 in the books. Cubs 3, Rockies nothing. Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney talks about expansion. Join Kip and Mark for Sports Night presented by Dex tonight after post-game live only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Cubs 3, Rockies nothing. Top of the order, Carlos Gonzalez in an 0-2 count. Infield hit to start the game to extend his career-long hitting streak to 12. He has 3 hits in the series. Swing and a miss on a changeup, strike 3. 3 Ks for Silva.
Catch the exciting playoff action live. Text playoffs to B-Hawks. That's 242957 to join Blackhawks Mobile and be entered to win a pair of tickets when the Blackhawks take on the San Jose Sharks in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals. That's playoffs to 242957 No purchase necessary. Message and data rates apply.
Foul strike on Smith. Mets and Braves 2-2 in the top of the ninth in Atlanta. Chris Medlin and Johan Santana with quality starts. Ike Davis and Jeff Francoeur with home runs. Troy Gloss with his 6th for Atlanta. Jason Hayward batting 2nd for the Braves tonight. Cardinals 2, Nationals 1. They're in the top of the 6th in St. Louis. Albert Pujols in a cleanup spot for the 2nd straight game. I think it was since 2003 he'd been in the 3-hole. Lannon and Carpenter, good matchup on the mound in that one. Will Nieves and Felipe Lopez with homers in that game. It's a final in Philly. The Pirates split that 2-game series, winning 2-1 tonight. Roy Halladay with a complete game loss. Zach Duke got the win. Meek, Hanrahan, and Dotel.
That's a pretty good formula for the Buccos.
Combined for 3 hitless, scoreless innings. Smith grounds out. Here's Brad Hopp with 2 down, nobody on.
The Mets are really on a roller coaster this year. I remember when we went to Citi Field earlier this season, there were articles in the paper about Jerry Manuel being fired, having a fire sale, getting rid of some of their veteran players. They proceeded to crank off 11 out of 12 or 11 out of 13, got into first place. They were planning the parade route, taking ring sizes, and now they've turned around and lost 3 of their last 11, or rather won only 3 of their last 11.
The owner flew down to Atlanta in a big meeting yesterday. All the headlines today were essentially Jerry Manuel still has his job even though the boss just visited.
That's never a good thing when the boss flies to Atlanta to visit.
Giants and Padres tonight. Jonathan Sanchez and Matt Latos. Matt Latos has sent down 55 of the last 58 hitters he has faced.
Wow.
Called strike 3. Silva's pumped up. It's about as animated as we've seen him this season. Bottom 6, 3-0 Cubs. Chachin has survived through 5. He is trailing 3-0. 1 strike to Tyler Colvin. An RBI single and a run scored as part of a 3-run fourth for the Cubs. Out in the left center, base hit. On 1 hop, it bounces to Smith.
One of the hardest things to do as a bench player is to keep your swing intact, keep your strike zone intact. That time Tyler Colvin goes out of the zone, but put a good swing on it. A lot of top hands, just flip that ball out into left center field for a base hit.
Gio has struck out and walked. Cubs dropped 2 of 3 against Florida. They did the same against the Pirates. They had a chance to win both in this series against the Rockies. And with what looks to be a pretty challenging 5-game trip coming up to Philadelphia and Texas. This is a type of game, especially now with a 3-0 lead in the 6th, you really want to get. Both the Phillies and the Rangers are in first place in their respective divisions. You come home, you play a Dodger team that has won 8 straight going into action tonight. And another first place team, well, they're actually not in first, second place at St. Louis, a game behind the Reds.
That series with St. Louis starts a string of 12 straight games within the division. A real great opportunity for the Cubs to make a move in the Central.
Ball 4. Another walk for Soto. Don't miss your chance to be part of the brand new PNC Club of Chicago. The new club, located down the third base line, offers high-end catering, a top-shelf bar, indoor and outdoor seating, and other benefits that allow for a truly all-inclusive game day experience. Membership also includes parking for every home game. To reserve your season tickets in the PNC Club of Chicago, call 773-404-4200. Esmail Rogers, a right-hander, is up. It's 5 walks now for Chachin, who's nearing that 100 pitch mark.
Actually had a couple of very easy innings in the second and third. He only threw a total of 19 pitches in those 2 innings, but the Cubs forced him to throw 25 in the first and 35 in the fourth.
While Silva's in good shape, 6 innings, only 69 pitches, and he's on deck behind Castro, who takes strike 2.
A little frustration there from the youngster Starlin Castro. Took that rolling breaking ball right in the middle of the strike zone. It looked like he saw it well, but just wasn't quite ready to pull the trigger, and nodded his head afterward like, yeah, that's the one I should have hit right there.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
don't know if this has ever been studied, Len, or if there's any research done on it, but a lot of hitters in Major League Baseball will tell you that they feel like they're going to get one good pitch to hit every at bat. And if you better do some damage on that one hittable pitch, otherwise you're going to have to probably chase pitchers' pitches, and that's exactly what happened to Castro in that at bat. Got that hanging breaking ball on the 1-1 pitch, thigh high in the middle of the plate, and just could not pull the trigger on it and had to chase a borderline slider off the outside corner for strike 3.
Hey, watch Comcast Sportsnet Cubs game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. I want to send out happy 44th birthday wishes to John Hamer, lifelong Cubs fan, here cheering on the Cubs tonight. Corner man in, he's going to swing away, blooped out into right, coming over and sliding to make the grab is Hop. Colvin able to tag first and third with 2 outs. Well, you're a corner infielder charging to the plate, your heart skips a couple of beats when that pitcher pulls the bat back.
Especially if you're on the opposite field side, as Todd Helton was on that play, because most pitchers are going to swing late in that situation. When they show bunt and pull the bat back, more often than not, they're going to hit the ball to the opposite field.
Godome coming up, and Jim Tracy's going to make a change. Alexis pursuing perfection, called to the pen. He has left-hander Randy Flores coming on. 3-0 Cubs in the 6th. If you'd like to sit in the Bud Light batter's side, call 773-404-4200. Visit Cubs.com/suites. Accommodates groups of 75 to 100 people. And a great view from center field. So the Rockies into their bullpen. Southpaw Randy Flores will make his 18th appearance. Facing Kosuke with runners at first and third and 2 outs. All you have to do is look at the appearances and innings pitched for a left-hander. And in the case of Flores, 17 games, 9 innings to know that he's a matchup guy. Comes in to face 1 or 2 generally. Outside corner, 1-1.
And usually if you are a matchup guy, especially a left-handed specialist, you probably feature a breaking ball. And Flores does have a good curve. You see the numbers. He last pitched last Thursday against the Washington Nationals. He threw 28 pitches in that appearance. He had only thrown 22 pitches in his previous 6 outings. Once again, speaking to the fact he comes in, faces one batter, see you later.
3-1. Might be the only guy he faces with Terrio on deck. And Esmail Rogers, a right-hander, ready in the bullpen. 3-2. Cubs will send Soto with 2 outs. And he takes off for second, and Fukudome hits it foul back to the seats behind the home dugout.
Zah.
Want some?
Oh, man. Mouth is watering.
Foul tip, strike 3. Cubs leave 2 off to the 7th. The Northsiders leading 3-0.
On Ryan Howard and the Fightin' Phils. Tune in as the Northsiders clash with last year's National League champs, Cubs Phillies, tomorrow night at 6 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. David Kaplan. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. You see Cappy out here at the ballpark all the time doing his research, talking to Jim Hendry and Lou Piniella and the players and bugging the living daylights out of us.
We're in a breaking ball strike on Troy Tulowitzki. Olympic gold medal ski racer Lindsey Vonn will conduct the 7th inning stretch tonight. You know, Bob, it's all downhill from there.
Yes, indeed.
Two strikes a count. The Cubs haven't had to get anybody up tonight. Silva's been in control throughout.
I don't suppose it counts in skiing if you fall and tumble and slide down the hill, right? You got to stay on your skis.
That's a great question. We can ask Lindsay. She would be the person to ask, not me.
Probably so.
I thought you just have to get down to the finish line, however you get there, right? Soto's going to go out. I wonder if Gio's asking Carlos if he feels all right. He's kind of been adjusting a little bit. One of those pitches, he turned around and walked towards second base.
Yeah, kind of cranking his right shoulder around a little bit.
I've been dealing with some neck stiffness. Sure hasn't affected his performance. Two on Tulowitzki, Helton and Olivo, and possibly Stewart if somebody gets on. 3-2.
Yeah, he just doesn't look comfortable out there on the mound this inning.
You're right.
Pulled that change up into the dirt over in the left-handed batter's box and kind of spun around and turned his back to home plate and walked away before getting another ball from Giovanni Soto.
And with that, we're going to see some bullpen action. Let you know in a second who's getting up. Ball 4.
Well, that's a sure tip off as well. The first walk of the ball game for Carlos Silva.
Well, there's the list of guys with at least 7 starts and 0 losses. And Silva leading here late, 3-0. Here comes Larry with Caridad and Russell up in the bullpen, and Mark O'Neill's coming out with Larry Rothschild.
And you'll see the home plate umpire Todd Titchener immediately gets out in the middle of that conversation. He wants to make sure that the Cubs aren't talking strategy. This is strictly a meeting to determine if Carlos Silva is okay out there on the mound. You saw him look to the Rockies dugout and give a signal that that doesn't count as an official meeting to the mound by the pitching coach Larry Rothschild. That was strictly a meeting to check on his health.
Strike 1 to Todd Helton. Helton working on a walk streak and has reached 5 games. Trying to get that to 6 maybe tonight. He knows they need some base runners. He does have a double, 1 for 2 in the game. 1 ball, 1 strike. Todd Helton knows what he wants. He's never afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Although in his first at bat, he swung at the first pitch and flied out. Sometimes you hear people, say, man, if I just had this guy's power, or if I just had that guy's speed. I think a lot of guys could say, if I just had Todd Helton's eyes, I'd be a better hitter. 3-1.
And he's such a savvy veteran. He understands that Carlos Silva has pitched an outstanding ball game up to this point, but he saw the base on balls to Tulowitzki to start this inning. He knows Carlos Silva's history. Not going to chase anything out of the zone here. He's going to force Silva to throw him a strike. Maybe another strike here on the 3-1 pitch before he even swings the bat. Well, he's hacking at that.
3-2 on Helton to Lewitsky. The runner at first, nobody out. We're in the 7th. Here it is. Pop foul as Helton went down to a knee after that cut. Todd Helton extended his contract 2 years during spring training, so he's signed through 2013. And defers some of the money he's going to get next year. And that is deep to right for Todd Helton, and it is gone. His first homer of the season. Just a matter of time for Helton. And just like that, it's 3-2.
Helton had a home run swing on the pitch before. That time got every bit of it to right field. Helton's a guy that's so willing to go to the opposite field. Sometimes pitchers kind of take it for granted that they can just groove a fastball in there to him, but not this time.
So Todd Helton with his 326th career home run as Smiley Caridad coming in. The Lexus pursuing perfection call to the pen. Miguel Olivo. It's basically like he's starting the 7th. Bases empty, nobody out. Todd Helton just did his first homer of the season. That ended the longest season opening homer drought of his career. First homer coming in game 33 for Helton. 2 balls, no strikes. Fans getting a little antsy here as the Cubs lead has dropped to just 1. And it's 3-0 on a free swinger, Miguel Olivo. So Silva just hoping the bullpen can get it done, but Caridad just walked Olivo, and that's it. Lou has asked for Russell with Ian Stewart coming up. Lexus pursuing perfection call to the pen. It's still 3-2 Cubs, but the Rockies are threatening. Wednesday, May 26th at 2:30. Collect autographs on an authentic MLB baseball from the 2010 Cubs players and coaches in attendance. Limited tickets are available for $300 each. Proceeds benefit Chicago Cubs charities. And to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com or call 773-404-CUBS. Rookie left-hander James Russell is in. And Justin Berg just grabbed the ball in the pen as Russell faces Stewart. Sean Marshall might not be available tonight. I think the Cubs would like to stay away from him. He's been very busy lately and worked 2 innings in the game last night. We haven't seen Carlos Zambrano get up. It's possible Z could be might be being saved tonight for later in the game with Marshall and Marmol again. Maybe a little iffy.
Sean Marshall was up off the bench in the bullpen, stretching between innings, cranking his arms around, getting his legs loose, but then had a seat once again when James Russell came into the ballgame.
Olivo the runner at first and an 0-2, and Stewart checked his swing and just got a piece of the baseball to stay alive. Another 0-2, smothered by Soto. The Braves got a run in the bottom of the ninth to beat the Mets 3-2 in Atlanta. Like Brett Cleveland scored on a David Wright error to win the game. Called strike 3.
Russell continues to pump strikes in there. That's his 11th punch out on the season against only 2 base on balls. Handles the left-handed hitting Stewart.
The pitch to Clint Barmas. Fastball. Strike 1. Back our way, just below our broadcast booth. So Russell ahead of Barmas. We have a delayed steal there, and Olivo gets in. The throw gets past both Terrio and Castro. What happened to Miguel Olivo?
I think it was a one-man demolition derby out there at second base on that head-first slide into second. Looked like his helmet came off. Get another look at it here. Perfectly executed delayed steal. Yeah, that's tough to stop your momentum with your chin.
Oh boy. Face first into the dirt.
Oh my, that's going to make some highlight shows. Wow.
Was he recreating Matt Holliday's slide into the plate? Game 163 a few years ago. He's a catcher. He'll be all right.
Well, that's enough to give you neck spasms right there.
That was a nifty double or delayed steal.
Perfectly executed. The idea of the delayed steal is you're not stealing on the pitcher, you're taking advantage of the catcher and the middle infielders. I'm sure one of the coaches on the Rockies bench was watching Ryan Theriot, Starlin Castro, and they were probably assuming with the catcher running at first base that there wasn't going to be a play. Once that ball gets by the hitter, and actually Theriot broke right away. He wasn't caught by surprise, but Giovanni Soto was, and his throw was way to the shortstop side of second base and gets all the way through into center field. But the idea of that double steal, as I said, you catch the middle infielders maybe putting their heads down as soon as the ball gets by the hitting area, or turning and looking to the outfield as soon as the ball gets by the hitting area, and you just try to catch him by surprise. He's rubbing the back of his neck. His chin's all right.
His nose, his chin. Sure, he got a lot of dirt in his mouth. His forehead. I don't know if he's going to want to put his catcher's mask back on.
Well, you know what's going to happen. He'll go back behind the plate for the next half inning, and the first pitch of the inning is going to be a foul ball right off his mask.
He's not going to stay in.
Wow.
I certainly hope Miguel Olivo is all right. That was a nasty spill. Paul Phillips is their backup catcher. He will probably not run, however, because the tying run is now in scoring position. Phillips will get ready to catch.
Well, they do have the speedy Dexter Fowler available off the bench.
Looks like they're going to use Phillips to run.
It's always a thrill for the backup catcher when you're used as a pinch runner. Doesn't happen very often.
Meanwhile, it's 1-2 on Barmas. They had Melvin Mora in the on-deck circle in the pitcher spot, but now it's Ryan Spilborghs. Here's a pitch in on the hands and fouled back. Inside and low to make it 2-2. Carlos Silva walked the leadoff man in this inning, Tulowitzki, and then gave up a 2-run homer to Todd Helton. He was removed as Smiling Caridad came in and walked Olivo. He got the hook. Russell struck out Stewart. Now he's battling Clint Barmas.
Marlon Byrd playing very shallow in center field, as he usually does. Same thing for Kosuke Fukudome in right. Tyler Colvin might be a little too deep out there in left field. Barmas doesn't have big-time pull power. The most important thing right now is on a base hit through that left side of the infield that Colvin charges that ball hard and gives himself an opportunity to throw the runner out at home plate.
This is Colvin with Phillips back to second, 2 outs. Spilborghs will be announced.
Your attention, please. For Colorado, pitcher, number 19, Ryan Spilborghs.
Quick meeting on the mound. Larry Rothschild's going to go out and talk to James Russell just to make sure they know exactly what they're going to do against Ryan Spielborgs. He's 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter off Jim Tracy's bench this year. Overall on the season, hitting only .218.
Lindsey Vaughn getting set for the 7th inning stretch, but this is often the case. The minute she walked into the booth, this inning really slowed down.
This would be like if you're in the starting gate ready to go down that mountain and they start counting you down at 300, 299, 298, 297.
0-1 on Spielborgs. Russell's been getting ahead of the hitters. That's a good sign. Ball strike on the inside corner. Good fastball from Russell. 0-2. Rockies have a pretty dynamic roster. No matter what sort of starting lineup Jim Tracy throws out there, he has a lot of good pinch hitting options on his bench. Spielborg's one of those guys. Jason Giambi available tonight. The veteran Melvin Mora has got the switch hitter Dexter Fowler. If Fowler's in the lineup or Spielborg's, he can bring Seth Smith off the bench. If he spots Giambi for Helton, he can bring Todd Helton off the bench. The next 1-2 pitch, 2-2. 2 times Russell has missed. It's been high on fastballs.
Last time he missed up and away with the 0-2 fastball, he came right back with the slider down and in. It is again just a little too low.
Tough take, 3-2.
You change that hitter's eye level with the high fastball out of the strike zone and then come back with a breaking pitch down low, hoping to get him to swing right over that pitch.
Doesn't have to give in here necessarily, but he strikes him out. Russell pumped up. 3-2 Cubs as we sing the stretch.
Olympic gold medalist skier
Paul Phillips. Pinch ran for Miguel Olivo. Rafael Betancourt pitching, and Lindsey Vaughn, a gold medalist, in the booth with us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice job with the stretch. Was it fun?
It was fun, for sure.
It was fine. You were fine. You had
fans
fun.
are awesome.
Lots of energy. That's all they care about here.
I don't really know if I, hit the right notes on that one.
You got all the words right. That's all they care about. You didn't say welcome to Wrigley Stadium like Jeff Gordon did, so you're okay.
Oh, yeah. I had some help. John Cusack, I just saw him. Cusack, sorry, pronounced his name wrong. He was giving me some pointers. So he's done this a couple times. He's a big Cubs fan.
That's
so
right. Is John here tonight?
I don't know if I'm supposed to spill the beans, but
well, he comes here a lot, so you wouldn't be spilling the beans.
Yeah.
So here's Betancourt. Cubs trying to add on. They lead 3-2. Had you been to Wrigley before tonight?
Yeah, I actually threw out the first pitch last, I think it was September. I was here, but it was really cold and raining, so weren't too many people here. And today is an awesome night. There's so many people here. Fans are awesome, and it's a great game.
And it's a tight one, a little tighter than the Cubs had hoped going into this seventh inning, but you got a nice hand as you threw out the first pitch.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to not, throw it on the ground.
You got it there in the air. That's the key.
Did a nice job.
Thank you.
There's the 0-1. That's high. We check out that first pitch.
I'll tell you what, Lindsey, for somebody who's skied down some of the largest and most terrifying mountains in the world, you looked a little scared climbing up on the pitcher's mound. It's only 18 inches tall.
I was really scared. Are you kidding me? There's so many people out here, and baseball is definitely not my forte, so I was definitely nervous, but at least, I didn't throw it on the ground. That was my main goal, so I'm happy about that.
Now, you've been downhill skiing since you were 2?
I've been skiing since I was two and a half, and I actually started downhill skiing when I was 9 years old.
Okay. So, like cross-country skiing, or what were you doing?
No, definitely not cross-country. Cross-country is hard. That's like running.
So what were you doing at 2?
At 2, I was basically excited to go to the mountain for some hot chocolate and sprinkled donuts. And
that's what we like to do now.
We're good at it, too.
Ooh, called strike 3 on the outside corner. We actually did a family vacation in Colorado this past winter, and I don't downhill ski, but I like watching people do it. That was fun.
Where'd you go in Colorado?
We went to Keystone.
Oh, nice.
And it was very lovely, and enjoyed watching the Olympics.
Yeah,
and,
I live in Vail most of the time, so yeah.
Not too far away.
No, definitely not at all. Today is actually kind of a family vacation. I think I have 17 people, my cousins, aunts, uncles. Everyone from Wisconsin's out here, so.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I know some controversy was created, but that was a downhill position there.
Come on,
I had no problem with that. I got the Sports Illustrated. I didn't see what the big controversy was.
That's how I ski. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, honestly, but anything can be controversial if you want it to be, and that's the way I ski. So I don't know. I don't know.
Do you kind of look at that like anything that creates headlines and gets people talking about downhill skiing is good? Is that okay?
Obviously you don't want, people there to be controversy around your sport in any way, but, I thought it was a great cover because it showed my skiing. It actually could see my face, and, I'm always covered up in all my ski gear, so for me that was a good change of pace, and, I think it was great for our sport. Despite the controversy, I think a lot of people tuned into the Olympics and watched ski racing, so that was definitely positive.
Well, it is a thrilling sport.
It's fun going 80 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour. It's a lot of fun, I have to say.
Bob had a question, actually. I'll let him ask you. He asked me. I have no idea what the answer is.
The point is to get to the bottom of the mountain quickest, right?
Yes.
Do you have to stay on your skis?
Yes, you do.
You do?
You do.
Because I think I could roll down the hill pretty quickly.
As long as you don't lose, I think the rule is if you don't lose more than 2 pieces of your equipment, you're okay.
Oh, good.
So just hang on to your skis or maybe 2 of your ski poles and you'd be okay.
Just duct tape everything on there.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to start training again soon, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I start hitting the gym 6 days from now. So I'm excited, to get back in there. But, it's also sad to have the off season already over so soon.
There's Lindsay on cover of Sports Illustrated.
That's the way I
Olympic
ski,
preview.
See it?
That's a steep mountain.
It's like tuck.
I have to tell you, it looks like when you're going down that mountain as fast as you can, and you're hanging on for dear life. Does it ever feel that way?
No.
I know there's a ton of skill in doing it, but I mean, any little slight movement one way or the other,
And you're going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You try not to think about that.
Well, don't think about it next time you do it. Derek Lee pulls it into the left field corner, and he's going to have a double. But it also must be the most exhilarating feeling in the world to be going. How fast are you going at your fastest?
I don't know. I mean, we only usually have one speed gun set up on the course, so the fastest I've ever been clocked at is about 85 miles an hour. But that's not to say that we're not going, 90, 95. I mean, there's, really no telling. But
faster than the speed limit, we know that.
Yes, definitely faster than that. But no speeding tickets, thankfully, on the ski slopes.
Ramirez with a runner in scoring position.
And Lindsay, I would imagine at this stage of your career, your training is very sport specific.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for ski racing, you need all sorts of cross training as well. I mean, I play a lot of tennis whenever I can. It's good for my agility, my coordination, and but I'm doing mostly a lot of biking, a lot of weight training, a lot of core strength, agilities. I mean, it's you basically need everything.
And you do that in Vail?
Yeah, I mean, I do that in Vail. I do that in, I do usually a 3-week conditioning course in Austria with my Red Bull team. I have 2 trainers there, and they look after me and, make me cry and all that sorts of fun stuff. So.
And how's your cow?
She's good. I got 5. I actually have 5 now.
Oh, really?
The herd is growing, and I was given a goat not too long ago as well, so I have a total of 6 animals.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Lofted out into right, and this is going to be pulled in by Hop with a second out. So you're from Minnesota. I don't know if you know this, Carlos Silva, who's from Venezuela and pitched tonight for the Cubs. His winter home is in Medina, Minnesota.
Really?
His wife is from there.
I didn't know that.
And he chooses not to live in a warm climate in the winter. Have you been to Target Field yet? The new outdoor stadium in the Twin Cities.
No, I have not. I haven't been back to Minneapolis in a few months, but yeah, it's
supposed
always
to
tough.
be great.
I've heard it's great. My brother went and he said it was awesome. So I hope I get to go there and visit soon.
And they one time, Bob and Lindsay, they had ski jumping at Wrigley Field.
I just saw the picture.
Yeah.
I just saw the picture. That was incredible. It would be fun if they still did that, because that was pretty amazing.
Well, just show up in mid-December. You could probably just do it with the snow that usually falls in Chicago.
That'd be a fun event. I mean, they're doing all sorts of, Red Bull's doing ice hockey, through the center of towns, and they've got, X Games LA had the X Games in downtown LA, so anything's possible these days, that's for sure. I don't know if they could set up a downhill course here, though. I don't know if that's fit.
Probably not. One strike on Marlon Byrd. Derek Lee is at second with 2 outs. And fouled back. So when you do start training, how many hours a day?
6 to 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's a full-time job.
That's the Bob Brenly workout.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're not training, I mean, I assume you don't just lay around on a couch all day. I mean, are there activities you do you said you play tennis as part of your cross training, but
yeah, I mean, I honestly only have 1 day a week off, so I have to say I am hanging on the couch on that one day off. Or I'm usually running out to the grocery store to cook my husband food. my wife duties.
2 strikes on Bird. Betancourt very deliberate, especially with men on base. And this is Hop again in right. 3-2 Cubs after 7. Lindsey Vonn, gold medalist. Congratulations. We enjoyed watching you, and we look forward to many more events and some more medals down the road. In the comfort of the Wrigley Field Mezzanine Suites, presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. To book your suite or for more info, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200.
Here is Sean Marshall. Yep. We weren't sure if he was available tonight or not, but as I mentioned, as James Russell came into the game, he was down there stretching as if he were preparing to come into the game, and here he is.
Against the top of the order, and Carlos Gonzalez rips it into the right center field gap. Nice play by Kosuke to cut it off. Boy, he makes so many underrated defensive plays. Kept that ball from getting to the wall. He still might not be 100% after that collision. Looked like he was wincing. Remember, he ran into Troy Tulowitzki earlier in the game and keeps Gonzalez to a single.
Boy, and Marlon Byrd was shaded over toward left center, so if that ball gets past Kosuke Fukudome with Carlos Gonzalez's speed, there's a chance he ends up on third rather than second, but just tremendous closing the gap there by Kosuke, holding him to a single.
That's the other great part of the Marlon Byrd signing. That signing stands on his merits alone, but also moving Fukudome back to his strongest position, which is right.
Oh, there's no question. He's much more comfortable in right field. He plays the angles down there along the foul line as good as anybody that's ever played right field here at Wrigley Field.
Smith went around. That call was made by Titchener, the home plate umpire. They did not even look down at Jim Wolf.
And that's one thing we probably don't talk enough about, Len, and managers love the fact that you have outfielders that can close that gap and keep double plays in order. Anytime you can keep that runner at first base, you're one pitch away from potentially getting 2 outs on a ground ball.
The 0-1. Breaking ball low and outside.
Just want to clear something up real quick with Lindsey Vonn. I asked her how her cow was. There's a ski race that annually takes place over in France at Val d'Isère, and the winner receives an award, a cow. It says so right here on her bio. I just wondered if she kept it, and she said she's added to the herd.
Tried to stay away from the goat reference, but
yeah.
Well, she's easy to root for.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Just a terrifying sport to watch. I was amazed at how calmly she answered your questions about how fast you go down the hill, and do you ever think about? Well, I guess not. I mean, for somebody who participates in a sport like that, that's terrifying to the rest of us, she'd probably be scared to death to get in the batter's box and face a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Marshall to Castro, relay late. Smith able to beat the relay throw.
Like Castro got his feet a little turned around out there at second base. Made no difference in the play at first. They weren't going to get Seth Smith anyway. Very slow developing double play from the mound.
Brad Hopp, 1 out of 3. And there's Big Z in the pen.
It's been that kind of year for the Cubs and for Big Z. On the day it's announced that he's going to go into long relief, he finds himself warming up in the 8th inning, probably for a save opportunity in the 9th. We'll see. Might use Marshall and Zambrano to get through this 8th inning if Marmol's available today.
Definitely want a lefty against Hopp in this spot. Much better against righties and lefties. A high fly ball the other way. Tyler Colvin makes a catch and keeps Smith from tagging and heading to second.
That wasn't enough to get out or over the head of Tyler Colvin in left field. A well struck ball, didn't go anywhere.
There's Tulowitzki. Well, you go into this series, you see in mid-May, Tulowitzki has only 1 homer. Todd Helton has none. Makes you nervous. And sure enough, Todd Helton would hit a 2-run shot in the 7th to pull the Rockies within 1. Late swing by Tulowitzki, 1-1. They're both hitting for average. That has not been a problem. Wind has died down. Most of the flags are pretty quiet at the moment.
This game has progressed very much like the ball game last night. Early in the game, as we see, Helton gets hit by that foul ball off the screen behind home plate. Yeah, the wind was blowing very hard early in the ball game last night, as it was tonight. But as we got deeper and deeper into the game, it died down more and more.
Kick and the pitch. Good curve. 2-2. 37,029. Fans getting up. Ground ball to Ramirez. The throw to first. Inning over. Bottom 8. Cubs 3. Rocky. The Cubs lead here in the 8th. And we are going to see the closer in the 9th, Carlos Marmol. But first, the Cubs try to tack on.
Another run or two wouldn't hurt a thing right here. Tyler Colvin's had himself a nice night at the plate. Singled and drove in a run and scored back in the 4th inning. Singled in the 6th.
Colvin fouls it off. One strike to Tyler Colvin. Lined into left for his 3rd straight hit.
Colvin just featuring a really quick swing tonight, letting that ball get deep into the hitting zone, really using his hands well, and he's gotten the barrel of the bat on the ball 3 times in the game tonight.
Leadoff man on. Soto has walked twice tonight. Six times he's walked at least twice this year. He Did that 8 times all of last year. Betancourt checks on the runner.
Phillips behind the plate, only playing in his 5th ball game so far this season for the Rockies. No stolen bases attempted against him.
Orioles beat the Royals in 10 in Baltimore tonight. Nick Markakis with a game-ending RBI single. Tampa Bay earlier today beat Cleveland 6-2. David Price improving to 6-1. He beat David Huff, who dropped to 1-6. There goes Colvin. Here's a throw by Phillips. He's in, and he's going to head to third. It'll be a steal and an error on the catcher.
Pretty good jump by Colvin over there at first base. The throw short hops Tulowitzki, who tried to keep his glove right there at the bag and hoped that the ball landed in it so he could apply a quick tag. Skipped right underneath the leather into center field. Colvin all the way around to third base with nobody out. The Rockies will have to bring their infield in.
So Colvin gets his first career steal, just like Castro did last night. Infield in, the 2-0 to Soto is upstairs. The aforementioned Starlin Castro is on deck. Cardinals held off the Nationals 3-2. Chris Carpenter is 5-1. He went 8 innings. How about Tyler Clippard, the Nationals reliever? He has 10 decisions. He took the loss. He's 7-3. Ryan Ludwig with a game-winning homer with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. 3-2 to Soto. Yankees leading the Red Sox again 5-1. They're in the bottom of the 7th in the Bronx. CC Sabathia versus Josh Beckett. Beckett only went 4 2/3, gave up 5 runs, 3 earned. Sabathia still in there, 7 innings, 1 run. Here's a payoff pitch. Still 3-2. Blue Jays won a matinee over Minnesota 11-2 up in Toronto. Sean Markham over Carl Pavano. Vernon Wells hit his 11th in that one. He's hitting .316. Having an excellent comeback year. White Sox beat Detroit 6-2 after getting rained out last night. Freddie Garcia over Rick Porcello. Long battle between Betancourt and Soto. Colvin at third, nobody out. Ball 4, he walked him. Well, it's Castro. Alfonso Soriano in Marshall's spot. Ball 1.
I like the way Starlin Castro prepared for that pitch from Betancourt. He's been watching from the on-deck circle, and Betancourt is extremely slow after getting the sign from his catcher, tapping his toe out there several times before coming to a set position. And rather than lock himself into his stance, Starlin Castro kept taking practice swings until Betancourt finally came to a complete stop. There he goes again. You don't want to get locked into your stance too soon and just have to stand there in a stationary position and have your muscles start to tighten up as you're waiting and waiting and waiting for that pitcher to finally deliver the pitch. It shows that Castro was paying attention in the on-deck circle.
The kick and the 1-1. Outside, 2-1. Good rip. 2-2.
Now, Betancourt's a guy that will throw his fastball when he's behind in the count. He's not afraid to challenge opposing hitters. He'll throw it 2-0, 3-1. Particular pitch 2-1. Came right after Castro with a fastball out over the plate.
Betancourt originally signed with Boston way back in 1993. It's been his first 3 pro seasons as a middle infielder. He was converted to the mound in '97.
Castro's going to get another fastball right here.
Bangs it off the mask of the catcher Phillips. Like he's more worried about his mask than himself. Kind of like an extra body part, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You just want to make sure everything's intact on that mask so the next one doesn't get through the bars somehow. I've seen those masks get bent to the point where you almost think a baseball could squeeze through. Breaking ball here.
Ground ball. Throw goes to the plate. Not in time. Ian Stewart trying to cut down that run, but he couldn't. Phillips would have had to tag Colvin. It was not a force play. And it'll be a hit for Castro. An RBI hit. He has 2 knocked in tonight. First RBIs since his major league debut about a week and a half ago.
A little bit of an off-balance, awkward swing, but once again, Castro able to get the fat part of the bat on the ball and hit that hard grounder to the left side, made Stewart leave his feet, allowing Tyler Colvin to come in from third and score.
A big extra run to make the lead 2, and they're not done yet. First and second, no outs, and it's Soriano to pinch hit.
This is only Soriano's second pinch hit at bat of the season. Of course, he hasn't been on the bench that often, hitting .323 on the year. He's been playing just about every day.
And now Zambrano has gotten back up, just in case the Cubs break it wide open. Strike 1 on a fastball. Wild one in Texas. Angels and the Rangers. Rangers leading 8-7 in the bottom. All kinds of home runs in that one. Hunter and Rivera for the Angels. Young, Kinsler, and Guerrero against his former team for Texas. Rough night for both Jared Weaver and C.J. Wilson, the starters. They each gave up 7 runs in under 5 innings. That ballpark can play very small.
Especially later in the season when the weather really heats up. That is a launching pad.
We will be there Friday for interleague play. Still 0-2. I think there's some fans right in front of us who are keeping their own unofficial clock on Betancourt. I think they got up to 15 between pitches that last time around.
Yeah, the 12-second rule does not apply with runners on base. Only if the bases are empty, the pitcher is expected to deliver the ball to home plate within 12 seconds, providing the batter is in the batter's box. He's pitching like he's getting paid by the hour, though. That's for sure.
As a sign from Phillips. And another 0-2. Kicks away. Everybody moves up. On a wild pitch.
Mentioned Phillips only in his 5th ball game this year for the Rockies. He was in pretty good position that time. That ball just hit off the thumb of his glove and ricocheted over into the on-deck circle on the first base side.
So they have to bring their infield in again. Takes them out of a double play chance. Soriano hanging in there. Still 1-2. We're in the third in LA. Astros 3, Dodgers 3. Bud Norris and Hiroki Kuroda. Carlos Lee with his 4th homer. Xavier Paul playing right for the DL'd Andre Ethier. Foul tip. He caught it. Phillips caught it, making it a strikeout.
Boatload of fastballs to Soriano. He kept fouling him off. Finally, Betancourt threw him a straight changeup. Foul tipped it right into the mid of Phillips.
That'll be it for Betancourt. Joe Beimel is coming on. The Lexus pursuing perfection. Call to the bullpen. 4-2 Cubs in the 8th. Single to Kosuke Fukudome, and he's immediately taken out. The 1 pitch for Beimel in this series. And a matchup again. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. A run already in here in the 8th to make it 4-2. Beimel, a 9-year Major League veteran. Swing and a miss. At least 60 games each of the last 4 years. He signed with the Rockies. Finished with them last year and re-signed to a minor league deal in late March. Was put on the active roster on April 16th. Gave up a home run to Chipper Jones in his season debut and has not allowed a run since. Swing and a miss. Spun around Kosuke. Beimel is not the fastest worker around, but compared to Rafael Betancourt, this looks like a chase scene from the Benny Hill show.
Yeah, he takes your breath away. Boy, Betancourt faced 4 hitters. It took 19 minutes.
The 1-2 Way outside on a curve.
We're going to see another breaking ball. We talked about it earlier. When you bring that lefty specialist in the game to face a left-handed hitter, you're probably going to get a bunch of breaking balls.
This could be trouble, and it's caught. What a catch by Barmas. Gonzalez was not going to get there, and Clint Barmas just reached out and snagged it, and the runners had to hold.
Keep in mind, Barmas started from the drawn-in position. The Rockies had their infield in right at the edge of the infield grass. He had a long way to run as well to get out there and make that over-the-shoulder catch.
Terrio singled his first time, 0 for 3 since. And if you're not good at math, 1 for 4 on the night. Swing and a miss. Seen a lot of changeups tonight, starting with the starting pitchers, Chacin and Silva. Soto at third. Starlin Castro also in scoring position at second. Base hit right field. That's huge. 2 are going to score. 6-2.
Makes it look so easy, poking that ball into right field. Took a fastball away, slapped it over the head of Todd Helton down that right field line to plate 2 more runs.
And with that, we're going to see Zambrano and not Marmol in the ninth. It's no longer a save opportunity. The 0-1 to Derek Lee. Swing and a miss on a changeup. 0-2. Looking ahead to the ninth, Todd Helton will lead it off. Phillips and Stewart also due up. And a lot more comfortable now for the Cubs, leading by 4. 3 big runs here in the 8th. Called strike 3. And that ends the 8th, but a very productive inning for the Cubs, and Big Z will try to close them out when we come back. Sylvania Cubs post-game live. Send your questions to pglchicago at comcastsportsnet.com. You can get an answer live on air. Don't miss Sylvania Cubs post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Nice hand for Carlos Zambrano. Been in the bullpen for about 3 weeks. He'll remain in the pen as he'll get stretched out, and eventually will go back to a starting role. He starts Todd Helton with a strike on a fastball at 92 miles an hour. Oh, 2.
These two guys very familiar with each other. Todd Helton, 19 lifetime at bats against Big Z. He's got 3 hits, however, in his last 15 plate appearances. He's hitless against Carlos.
Well, 1-2 on the way. It's outside. If Z gets into any sort of trouble, Marmol can get back up and get ready pretty quickly. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
Carlos is just glad to be out on the field competing again. He's been kind of the invisible man this year. It just hasn't worked out to get consistent work out of the bullpen since the Cubs moved him down there. Talked about it earlier today. Knowing the kind of competitor that Carlos is, I think he'd volunteer to be the 4th outfielder just so he could get on the field and play.
Castro to Lee to get Phillips. 2 down. The producer of Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is Bob Albrecht. Our director is Dave Turner. Our associate producer, Tamara Anderson. Our stage manager in the booth, Christine Charbonneau. Our technical director, Joe Vinci. Our tech manager is Mark Harper, the senior executive producer of Comcast Sportsnet, Jim Corno Jr. Ian Stewart. Strike 1. Inside corner, strike 2. Just outside. It's about as hard as we've seen him throw as a reliever. Pretty consistently at 93. Ground ball foul, but almost kicked fair.
Well, he was trying to work its way back into fair territory. Might have hit right at the edge of the grass in foul territory and skipped back toward the base, but not quite enough.
Another 2-2. Nope, he did not swing, says Jim Wolf. 3-2.
Come on, Jim. We got a plane to catch. He does too, probably.
Swing and a miss. Cubs win. They sweep the 2-gamer. Their 3rd straight win. They finish up the homestand at 4-4 after a very slow start to this day. Back within 4 of the 500 mark. And it's off to Philadelphia and Arlington, Texas.
Well, a good job tonight by Carlos Silva, the starter in this ball game. Went into the 7th inning, gave up only 6 hits, a couple of runs. The bullpen came in and slammed the door on the Rockies once again. Stellar work by Russell, Marshall, and Zambrano tonight.